I don't know what it is. There's something special about what happens here on Monday nights. You still get the point where nobody comes on Sunday anymore. Alright, I guess I'll preach. Last Monday night, it didn't hit me until I drove home. Until I pulled in my driveway. That last Monday was June 25th. And I didn't even realize the importance of that day until I left here and I literally pulled in my driveway and it just hit me what the date was. I don't even know what brought it about, but June 25th is probably no big deal to you guys, but June 25th, 2007 was the day that Ashley and I packed up everything that we owned in a U-Haul and moved to North Carolina from South Carolina, where we had been pastoring for about 8 years, to start Vintage Church. It was like that was kind of when it became official. Like we packed up all of our belongings, everything that we owned. We put it in a U-Haul. Wasn't much. We put it in a U-Haul and we drove to North Carolina. And like this thing, like in that drive from South Carolina to North Carolina, that was about a 4-hour trip. It got real in my life. Like up until this point, this whole thing just like for the most part just seemed like maybe something that we would do. God had been calling me to plant a church and to do this for a really long time. And like most of us, God calls you to something and you spend about at least a year convincing Him that you're not the one. And that drive up here, like I remember like feeling so like scared to death, thinking I have lost my ever-loving mind. Because I'm leaving behind comfort and security and a good job, and my wife is quitting her job, and I'm leaving a job where, if nothing else, I knew I was getting paid twice a month. And I'm starting a church where I'm dependent on all these people to send me $5 a month for the next 3 years. And people gonna forget, and I'm gonna be broke, and we're gonna be homeless. And at that point, this church is just a figment of my imagination. It's just me and Ashley, my wife, and my parents. I hope. So there were 4 of us that had this idea of Vintage Church, and it's hard to believe it's been 12 years. And it's been a crazy ride. It's been an unbelievable journey. But I was talking to somebody about that last week. I was having a conversation on Wednesday and telling them about, hey, Monday, it was 12 years ago, all this kind of stuff. And I get asked the question that I get asked a lot. Like what does Vintage look like you thought it would? Like when you were driving in that U-Haul on that day with everything you own and nothing but a couple dollars and a dream in your heart, does it look like what you thought it would look like? And I really don't know how to answer that question because I don't really know what they mean. Like, you mean like, did it look like this? Like physically, did it look like there would be thousands of people that come on a weekend and actually like a couple hundred or more on a Monday night on the week of July 4th and worship Jesus in such a way the Spirit moves to think you don't feel like you can move? No! But then, like, I didn't have images of a building or a band or of lights or anything like that. What I dreamed about was moments like we just had. The reality is, if you come up here right now, there's tears on this platform. Like literally, like we need cameras. Vintage Church, a couple $100 grand, we'll be good to go. Right there. Literally, like you walk, like there's puddles of tears around this platform. And like, if you ask me if that what I thought it would be, that's what I hope it would be. I hope it would be a place where, like, I never pictured. Like some of the stuff that it's become, like the lights and all, because at that point, like we got no money. Like I didn't know what it was going to be, but like all I could picture was a place where people would experience Jesus, because Jesus has changed my life. My life is radically different and radically better because my parents taught me about Jesus and raised me to know Jesus, and not just know Him, but to live in relationship with Him. And like I'm uncertain about a lot of stuff, but I'm convinced that the only hope there is Jesus. Like that's it. Like the only chance that you and I have to find peace and fulfillment and purpose is through a relationship with the Creator of the universe made possible by the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. And I have found something that is worthwhile, and I just wanted my life to be dedicated to a place and to something that helped people find what I found. And because if I'm honest, like a lot of the churches most of us grew up in, that was not what they were about. It didn't seem like it was about helping people find what we found. It seemed like helping people become what we had become. To look like us, talk like us, go through the same. It wasn't about that. I wanted to be a part of something that helped people find what I found. And if you're here tonight, Jesus is it. Jesus is the only hope we have. And I still believe to this day that the church is what God has created in order for people to discover that. Like the church is supposed to be God's vehicle for helping people discover Jesus. To help people understand who He is and what He's done and what it means to know Him and live like Him and walk in relationship with Him. I still believe that the church is God's ordained vehicle to take the gospel to the world. I'm still convinced of that. And what I've discovered over the last 12 years is it's not God that most people have a problem with, it's church. It's not God that a lot of people have an issue with. It's not Jesus that people aren't curious about. It's the church that they're frustrated with. And that people are more walking away from the church than walking away from Jesus. And I get it, because the reality is so many of us have walked away from the church because we had a really bad experience there. And the experience that we had was so bad, no wonder we walked away. And the reason why our experience was bad was because the church disappointed us. And the reason why the church disappointed us is the reason why any disappointment happens. It failed to meet our expectations. See, the breeding ground of disappointment is unmet expectations. Anytime you've ever experienced disappointment in your life, it's because expectations haven't been met. If you think of one place, any situation ever in your life where you have experienced deep disappointment, it's been directly the result of unmet expectations. You were disappointed in your kids because they didn't meet your expectations. You're disappointed with your job